All right. Good morning, everyone. Here we are once again. We're walking to work ish. It's earlier than before, so the sun isn't out. So if you can't see my face from time to time, you know why. Anyway, today is Wednesday, October 28th. Um, Quick disclaimer: this is a conversation between me and Michael, so everything that we say here shouldn't be taken seriously. Or you can, but then that's at your own risk. Um, so yeah, uh, I'm gonna throw it over to Michael just to go over the topics real quick, and we'll jump right into it.
Awesome. Thank you, Randy. Good morning, everybody. So the topics for the day, it's going to be the following. On the final section, we have why should we avoid living paycheck by paycheck? Some news updates. There's some good ones today. In the fitness sections, we are going to be discussing why balancing our food is very important. And in the personal development section, why did we choose our majors? And maybe you can learn a little bit from that. Good. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started. Why should we leave? I mean, why should we avoid living paycheck by paycheck? What's wrong with that?
That's well, depending on the person that you ask,
Mm-hmm.
living paycheck to paycheck is either a choice or it is just a reality. There is no way for you to be saving money because you don't make enough. You live paycheck to paycheck simply because that's the only way for you to be able to survive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's very rare that you're going to find a situation where the person that lives paycheck to paycheck is in a situation where they can't save a little bit of money, right? I mean, even yourself included, there's days where you spend a little bit more than necessary. And it's not a requirement. You could save a little bit more by not being so, expensive, being a little bit more frugal, but life kind of gets in the way and, I want to spend some good times and you spend a little bit more money than you have to. What do you think?
Once again, I do agree with you about, it's usually not a choice, but, reality. Now, but one thing that I do kind of want to emphasize is that you don't need, I mean, that in this consumer society, it's kind of a little bit hard to avoid falling into the riddle, into the trap, of buying things that we don't need, stuff that we don't really, it's a necessity in our lives, but we decide to buy it anyway. Maybe the Gucci belt that you want to show off, it's not important because nobody cares. Or maybe the car that you drive, car, believe it or not, is a liability. There's always public transportation, especially on New York City. I feel like living in New York City is one of the best things for public transportations. When you can get to any point in the city without using public transportation. So
I know, I mean,
you gotta
using public
that's
transportation.
that's facts. Uh, but yeah, so the thing is that sometimes, yeah, I agree, it's not a choice because depending on where you are in life, and also if you have a family, usually it gets a little bit more complicated, especially if you have kids. But at the same time, it's not a really excuse to not be frugal where you're spending, to not be conscious about where you're spending your money, and trying to save up as little as 1% of that paycheck, like as little as $1. Just get a piggy bank and just put like a coin or a dollar in there daily, and trust me, that will accumulate eventually. So to the point that you will, have enough money to invest or to do something with it, because living paycheck by paycheck, I think, is not what do you call,
It's not
like a
sustainable.
it's not exactly, it's not sustainable for like as a lifestyle pretty much. And as you get older too, you're gonna realize that, oh, I wish I did that when I was young. I would start doing that when I was younger and stuff like that. And I see that in a lot of cases, but you know
And
gotta
it's
do
kind of
what you gotta
crazy.
do.
There's these people that like they make a lot of money, like over six figures a year, and
Hmm.
somehow because of their lifestyle, they can only live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, actually, I seen that a lot is because you gotta humble yourself sometimes. Once you start making good cash, bro, you don't need to increase your standard of living. Um, because just because you make more money doesn't mean that you can go to I mean spend a little bit more, because kind of like it goes in a positive trend. The more money that you earn, your lifestyle kind of increases. Kind of just humble yourself a little bit and try to save up, and you
I
don't
mean,
need to
like,
show up.
here's the thing. It's not
Hmm.
even the amount of money that you have, it's a mindset. So,
Yeah, that's
like
true.
that should give you some sort of encouraging idea that it doesn't matter if you're making $20,000 a year or $100,000 a year. It'll be
Hmm.
a similar situation. Obviously, the living standards are going to be a little different, right? But
Right.
if you're this type of person that can save anywhere from like 10 to 20% with what you make, regardless of income, then no matter how much money you make, you can always rely on the fact that you'll be able to save money because you have a good mindset and an ability to be frugal.
Correct. Definitely agree on that. But yeah, so just sit down, run your numbers, see where your money is going to. Be conscious about where it's going to, because believe me, the Netflix subscription it's killing you at some point. But
Yeah,
to be honest, and you don't need it. You can always have YouTube if you want to watch something, and it's
for
free.
real. Yep.
All right. Moving forward, do you have anything else to add up to that?
No, no. I mean, listen, just understand that money can always be made back, but your time can't.
Hmm.
But if you're good with your money, you can kind of save yourself a lot of time in terms of not needing to work like crazy when situations get a little bit worse in terms of whatever the economic situations are, right? So try to be frugal, try to save your money as much as you can just for those situations where if you can't find work or circumstances put you in a situation where you need money, you have it because you've gone out of your way to build up that habit of being frugal.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was mentioning, like we talk about, saving and investing. You should always have like some emergency money for those type of circumstances that, maybe you get laid out of work. So you got like 3 to 6 months right there sitting there waiting for you, and you don't have to worry about your family, about yourself, and how you're gonna survive the next 6 months. Because this will happen. Like, so, you know, you never know. You gotta be cautious on that. And yeah, other than that, one point that Randy mentioned, time. You should know that time doesn't equal money. So don't expect to, work. Don't expect always to, like work certain amount of hours and get paid for them. Because I this is what I learned as an entrepreneur. Because there are times that I'll be working on some project like for hours, and the amount that I get paid for it, it's not equivalent for it. So you gotta kind of put value to your time because it's so precious. But not always is gonna you're gonna get paid for it. So you shouldn't. Okay, I think I'm going into a loophole right there. All right,
Circles,
you
yeah,
shouldn't.
yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Work 9 to 5 and that's it. That's all the money that you're making. You should always look for like side projects that you can, get money out of from. Like, make your money work for you rather than you working for money. That's all I was trying to say. I don't know why it
Yeah.
took me so long.
That's definitely a topic later on, how to diversify income streams.
Yeah, true.
We'll talk
All right.
about that later on.
Cool,
All right,
cool, cool,
what do
cool.
you got for me in the news updates?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have some some earnings report from yesterday were good. Um, but most of them they end up in negative. I thought the Nasdaq was the only one who finished in green. One thing that I want to emphasize is that the pharmaceuticals they still have not progressed. Like Johnson and Johnson got the green light to keep testing once again, but when it comes to Pfizer, Astra, Seneca, and her immunity, they all kind of give you like by the end of the year, by the end of the year, but there's nothing secure on that. Once again, elections is next week. Markets are a little bit, scared I would say, about that. So
Volatile, very
vol-
volatile.
it's not really volatile. What they're doing is, keeping it flat. Like yesterday, we saw a little bounce. Why should they fall? But today, the fall might be a little bit harder than um, Fridays.
I mean, it's sticking within the same range, but that range is,
Hmm.
I would say, it's pretty wide. I
Yeah.
mean, after the 2% drop the other day, it's kind of been slowly trying to climb back up. But if it falls again, we don't know how far it'll
Hmm.
fall again.
Yeah. So I'm definitely seeing a negative trend on that. Now, another thing I wanted to mention is that guess which restaurant franchise was the only one who was profitable during this month.
Chipotle?
Okay, yeah, Chipotle is a good one. Another one, but Chipotle fell though. Chipotle fell.
Yeah. McDonald's?
Okay, not McDonald's. It's one that
Uh,
has the most popular sandwich. Well, it was one of the most popular sandwiches this year. Well, last year.
Popeyes?
Yes, sir. Popeyes. Surprisingly, Popeyes hasn't dropped all this month. It still drives traffic through the drive-throughs and stuff like that. So it's the only restaurant that's been, on the green for all these months.
Check that out
Other,
then.
to be honest, yeah, I haven't had Popeyes in a while. Now, cryptocurrency failed once again. What does that mean? Once again, people are getting scared. Like if they see a news, there's so many news reports that we're gonna see the market crash. We're gonna see the market crash. So eventually, people start selling out. So we see that already. The effect already around around. I had another thing to say. Hold on. Give me like 2 seconds. Let me just find. Oh, Airbnb. Airbnb is gonna IPO. They chose the Nasdaq to do so, and they're expecting to raise $3 billion, making it the third biggest listing on the Nasdaq after Facebook and Modelis. So definitely look forward to that. I Now,
Where's that
what do you
Airbnb's IPO?
when?
Yeah,
They don't have a date yet.
that doesn't help. That's good.
Hold on. Maybe they did. I haven't read this because they've been trying to IPO since 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2017, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah, they don't have it exact yet. They just chose
Nah, that's fine. Yeah, yeah.
the index that they want to be on. But
So wait, you saying that cryptocurrencies fell or they went up?
no, they fell. They fell.
They fell.
Yeah, I think it was 3%, something like that.
But it's
Yes,
slowly climbing back up.
sir. Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's still in the range, the 10,000 and the 13,000. So yeah, might people be putting their money there to secure it, but we will see. We will see. My portfolio actually beat it, the market yesterday. I was really proud of it.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a really good move. I started diversifying, as you might see in my board back there. I started, like listing all my stocks, all my sections where I'm investing, and I start crossing out all those that I think are going to be harmful to my portfolio rather than beneficial. Have you been doing that? I know
Uh,
you have some cash
I'm
on that.
yeah. So if it's right now, again, like a majority of my cash is focused on trading. I'm still
Hmm.
on with my Peloton trade, and I recently bought AMD because AMD fell pretty. It was a hard fall, but not for the right reasons or for weird
Hmm.
reasons. So the circumstances were it had its earnings report, beat expectations, it popped up like 5%, and then they came out with news that they would be purchasing another company for like
Hmm.
$35 billion, which acted as a negative catalyst simply because all the money that they've made this year, they're going to put it towards buying another company, acquiescing another company within the next 2 years.
Oh
But
yeah, I
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
so projecting long term though, the whole point
Hmm.
of that company that they bought was another chip manufacturing company, AMD and Intel are the two rivals right now when it comes to making those chips for computers. And
Correct.
Intel has been very, very stagnant. And right now it's actually just starting to fall more and more. So if AMD can kind of just keep the pressure on like this, eventually they're going to be able to just take over the whole market where Intel's taking right now.
Damn, I have money on my Intel, bro. I still have hope Intel has potential, just because
If
in
they innovate, then for sure, but they have to start making some
yeah,
moves because they're just falling behind.
that's the thing too. That's a good point. They haven't innovated on anything, and I see. I'm looking at AMD's chart. It's a fairly good trip, but I'm gonna look into it. I might put some. I mean, I might buy some shares on it. It's very high though. It's overpriced right now.
I would
AMD.
say usually has a resistance right around that $85 to $90 range. Right
Mm-hmm.
now it's sitting like 70, 79, I think. So it definitely has. It could still drop a little bit more. It has a support right around $75, but we'll see. We'll
Well,
play it by ear.
according to Morningstar, the fair value for AMD is $31.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they said the same thing about Tesla in the past. It's
True,
lower
but
than what it is.
Tesla is unique. Tesla is like,
You can say the same thing about AMD because they're taking over the market in a way that nobody else, or the only other company that's done
mm-hmm.
something similar is Nvidia, and you've seen what that happens with that.
Yeah, Nvidia has progress. Also, for the fair value for Intel is $70. It's kind of like inverse. If you realize that Intel
Mm-hmm.
is sitting right now on $40 and the fair value is $70. That's crazy. But anyways, yeah, definitely good stocks to check out, because chips manufacturing always going to be needed, especially on nowadays. Let's move on to something new. Let's move on to fitness, just to not make it a little bit longer. Balancing our food. Oof, that's a good one.
All right, so let's take it from the top.
Mm-hmm.
Balancing foods. So it's more of a approach of balancing the macro and micronutrients. So what do I mean by that? Macronutrients are usually the big food groups that you would be consuming in any given meal. So
Mm-hmm.
those consist of carbohydrates, protein, and fats. Micronutrients are the things like vitamins and minerals. So the best approach is to try to find the balance that works best for you. Most people find that, let's say somewhere within the realm of 50 to 65% of your calories are coming from carbohydrates. And then let's see, 30 or 20 to 35 from protein and about 20% from fat. That's usually a decent little range just because it kind of gives you a nice overview of everything that you would need to be consuming in terms of the macro and the micronutrients.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, depending on the person, that just isn't a good enough diet simply because it's too high in carbohydrates. Uh, People are different, bodies are different. So what you
Mm-hmm.
consume for one person might be different for another person. Um, so instead of high carbohydrates, you can go high fat. And high fat has a negative connotation with cholesterol. People think that if you consume a lot of fat, you're going to bump up your cholesterol, which at some point will be very negative because eventually you either get a heart attack or some sort of heart issue or heart conditioning. Um, Dietary cholesterol, so cholesterol that you eat, doesn't usually bump up your cholesterol, your body's cholesterol. What does bump it up is you being fat. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to find a diet that is sustainable and gives you that opportunity to not, get overweight, because that's what's going to be a really big detriment to your health overall. Not only in terms of just having high cholesterol, but things like diabetes, um, issues with your cardiovascular system, so difficulty breathing in any way. And then as you get older, your body kind of just starts little by little depreciating in value, because if you're very overweight and you're just sitting down all day, your body gets weak, your bones start getting brittle, and eventually at some point you won't even be able to walk. So definitely got to be careful about how you eat, find the best approach.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good point that you mentioned about, like the food. Now, I think the diet is gonna be based on the person, depending on how fast your metabolism is. Also, plays a really good variable right there because there's people who's literally can eat, and their metabolism is so fast that they won't get weight. But there are other people who they eat the minimum and they still gain weight. So you gotta know your body, learn how it works, and once you do that, then just get. I mean, just get a diet that works best for you. Ones that gives you energy to for the day, gives you enough energy to the day, also doesn't make you lose muscle, very important, and also all the minerals, you intaking all the minerals that you need, because those are very important. Because there's people who like drop sugar, but then they start getting lightheaded and stuff like that. That's bad. You need a diet that doesn't make you feel dizzy in any other sort of way. So but yeah, so important veggies, protein, and some carbs.
Hmm.
that, that's
Also, if
what.
worse comes to worse, and
Right.
you really have like no idea and you don't even know where to get started, if
Hmm.
it's a possibility for you, you can try to go to a specialist, a nutritionist or a dietitian, just to kind of get that situation, sorted. Because
Correct.
you go to the hospital or you go any kind of medical facility to get yourself treated for any issues that you have physically, right? This is no different. Most people don't really teach you how to consume food or how to consume food for your body, which is very important,
Hmm.
especially for the long run, because eating is something that you do every day. And if you don't have that lock and key, then that's going to be a problem for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, one another thing too. Avoid eating out. Simple as that. Don't eat out. I mean, I'm not saying don't fucking go outside, but like avoid, like do it once a week. Like reward yourself maybe once a week. That's what I usually do. But stop eating out. Bring your own food, cook your own food, because at the end of the day, you don't know how the food is getting made. They can say, "Oh, it's organic, it's blah blah blah, it's blah blah blah." That's pure advertisement. You don't know what all the food contains. You don't know the oils that they're using. You don't know if the veggies are fresh, if the protein, it's good. You don't know. And it the best food that you can put in your body is gonna be the food that you cook your own. So learn how to cook. It's not that hard, or maybe because I love cooking, it's not that hard for me. But you should
Even
be
if it is
you
hard,
should
it's a
know.
new skill. It's definitely useful to have.
Definitely correct.
And going back to the point of being how to save your money or not be or being more frugal with your money, it's that going out
Exactly.
part.
Yep. I struggle with that, but I do it once a week. Once a week is my outside day that I go and spend. That's the thing too. Like, when I go out, I don't really care about how much I spend, because it's the only day that I'm allowed to. Of course, I have a limit, but if I don't meet, if I don't surpass the limit, then I'm good. I'm conscious about that. But
That's just good money management.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so that's one of the ways. Like, believe it or not, that coffee that you buy in the morning accumulates monthly. Just do the math, and you're going to see how much money you're spending on just the coffee, and then you can just buy the big coffee bucket and just do coffee in your house. It's simple
Yeah.
as that. And but yeah, so that's my best advice for everybody. Don't eat outside too much. Like, it's delicious, I know, understand, but try to learn how to cook, and
Hmm. And for
that's the
me,
best
just
diet.
find the balance that works best for you.
Hmm.
Try a
Oh
bunch of
yeah.
different varieties of foods,
Hmm.
different proportions. Something that I would like to recommend for a lot of people that have said it before is MyFitnessPal, just to kind of get an idea. That's going to force you to track your food to see what you're consuming. Um, After a certain point, you'll kind of get accustomed to like what you're eating, and you'll know what to eat or what not to eat, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and just experiment.
Hmm. Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I tried to use my pill once. It didn't really work out, because for me, I usually, even when I was in the school, I used to bring my own lunch, and like it's not clear, how they ask you to put the bar to see the calories. It's hard for
Yeah.
me to just like know by eye, so it didn't
It's
work
very
out for me.
tedious for sure.
Yeah, so you gotta be patient for that. And
Yep.
yeah, all right. I think that was good conversation about our diet and then the food that we eat. Now, why did we choose our majors? Well, Randy kind of explained it on yesterday a little bit, but you can go into more details. Why you choose what are you doing?
Right. So for me, it's in part a passion and in part something that I'm good at doing. I've
Mm-hmm.
done it for a long enough period of time now that I pretty much know a lot of things. Now, don't get me wrong, this is an ever evolving to nutrition and understanding how food works with the body, and especially as we keep progressing through our society, we develop new foods. So things like impossible meat, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
food that's being created artificially, and it has different compositions in terms of how it affects the body because it's not regular meat. It's not something that you can go to a supermarket. Well, maybe you can go to a supermarket and buy it, but it's not the same kind of meat that we've been consuming for the last hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. So that's how it's always changing, and it'll always keep evolving in that way. That way, I always have something to do in terms of looking into how things affect the body. And if you can't see, I'm pretty interested in the topic because I can kind of just ramble about
Yeah.
it for as long as I want. Um, so yeah, for me, it's again part passion, part interest, and part I've put so much time into this already as is on my
Mm-hmm.
own that doing it in terms of a career or hopefully as a career in the future is something that I can see doing.
That is actually a good point. That's really good that you find your passion, and I know this for sure because whenever we used to hang out back in on campus, he couldn't stop thinking about fucking nutrition, all about fitness. Like this guy has made my you created my my what was that the workout plans. I never follow up to it because his style to working out is way different than mine, but he has helped me with that. He tried to do my macros and macros, but I couldn't follow up with that either because I'm not the type of guy who is going to be counting each grain of rice that I'm eating. I don't eat rice anymore, but
Hey man, different strokes for different folks. Whatever works for you.
exactly. Yeah, there you go. But I'm very grateful for his advice because at some point you can apply those. Like regardless if you're not willing to do the work, you can accommodate it or kind of like how you said that? To make it fit in your schedule. Like in
Yeah.
your yeah. But yeah. For me, I chose computer science mainly as a challenge. Like a little backstory. I I went to University of Buffalo my freshman year. I went as a computer engineer because I always thought I was gonna be an electrical engineer because my godfather, who I never met, is an electrical engineer, and I always wanted to be like I can do better than you. He's a successful electrical engineer in Ecuador, by the way, guys. But I was thought that was my mindset as a kid, like this is stupid. But but yes, I went with that, and I wanted to incorporate something with computers because I like computers. I was always good at it, fixing it and stuff like that. Now, my first semester, I failed my computer science class, not because I was bad at it, but because I shared my code with my roommate. And yeah, after that, that was the first time in my life I failed a class. So I remember getting out of the office, I started crying, I'm not gonna lie, called my mom because I didn't know what to do. Because that was probably one of the biggest fail in my life, like the biggest L. And it wasn't because of my fault. It was because a consequence I had to face for cheating pretty much. So
Choices.
yeah, yeah. There was a consequence. It was something and it was a scare. And after that day I was like, I'm gonna do computer science just to prove once again that I can, like, I took this L, but I can just get myself up. Now, Of course, it didn't. That wasn't only the reason behind it, but also it's a way for me to capitalize on for my projects that I want to do here and also in Ecuador. It's good money regarding like the pay for every computer science that well, software development or whatever in the field is a really good pay nowadays. So it's not mainly how Randy explanation about passion is how it is. For me it's mainly what is good for me and what I see in the long term beneficial in that aspect, because I can
Hmm.
be a computer science, I can always have the plan B. Like computer science major for me is a plan B, it's not my plan A, but it's my means to an end goal, and that's why I chose this major. So if you need help with coding, I'm not doing it. I'm not the guy.
Psych.
Psych. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much the story. To be honest, like I'm passionate about technology, but not to the point I see myself living all my, I mean, working all my life um, as a computer scientist.
But
My
that's the
main.
thing, also. Like,
Mhm,
you're diversifying yourself in such a way where you don't know what the future holds. So
mhm,
maybe later on down the road, you're like, actually, you know what? I do find like I have this really genuine interest and desire to learn this new type of technology that comes out. Say
mhm.
artificial intelligence comes out, and
Right.
you pick that up. You have a background now, so you have something to work off from.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, that's my plan B. That's
Hmm.
That's what it is. College for me was a plan B rather than apply plan A. My plan A is still, but it's just a means. And that's what, to be honest, in my opinion, that's what college should be. It should be a means to an end goal. Because now, in my opinion, the only careers that are worth going, is either engineering or be for medicine. Because every other major out there, they're not going to be really good. I'm not trash talking, but like
A little bit.
a little bit. Nah, okay, yeah, oh yeah, you're a nutrition. But the thing is that you can learn those things by your own. But having like a background on technology, having a background on science, very important, or even math is really important that you can apply it in every single field that you can go into it. So even I feel like even on nutrition, if you have a math major, you can apply to it because it's mainly like counting and stuff. And you see math majors in every single field, or you see computer scientists on every single field that there is. So it's mainly think about it as investment because it's 4 years or 5 years, but you know you're not getting them back, and you should be growing rather than just staying there. So if you're going for like a liberal arts major and you're just going to go flat, you're just wasting money,
Yeah, you're always
my opinion.
diversifying. Even if you're in school, you can do other stuff. It's not like you're just
Hmm.
held there. Diversify yourself.
Yeah, that's the key word, diversify, because you never know how it's gonna go. Like one part can go south, another part can go up. But yeah, so
All
when
right, I
it comes,
think
yeah,
that
that's
is
pretty
it
much.
because I am at work right now.
All right, yo, it was good having you. Um, we will talk to you tomorrow. Have Randy enjoy the workout. I know you're going to work out, and I'm be
Deuces.
productive. All right, guys.